This table will help us explore the difference between the pi button on your calculator and the number 3.14. Remember, 3.14 is just the first few digits of pi. The digits of pi actually go on forever. 3.14159265535. They just go on and on and on and on. They never stop. But we don't want to spend our whole life talking about the digits of pi, so a lot of the time we just use 3.14. Let's see what the difference is. Use a calculator, work with a partner, and complete this table. Hit play when you're ready to discuss the completed table. We'll get back together in 5 minutes. Wonderful. So our table represents two different circles. The first column shows us a table that has shows us a circle that has a diameter of 4.5 centimeters. So we know that circumference is equal to pi multiplied by the diameter. And that's what's been done here. We've multiplied 4.5 times pi. That is a good way to represent circumference. You don't actually have to multiply 4.5 times pi to represent the circumference if a problem asks you for the circumference in terms of pi. This next option uses the calculator key. So in other words, to get this number, you would type your key that has a pi on it times 4.5. And if you type that into your calculator, this is what you're going to get. The next row shows what happens if you use 3.14 instead. So this row here is equal to 3.14 times 4.5. That's what your calculator would give you if you used 3.14 as an approximation for pi. We didn't actually complete the last row, but just know some people use the ratio 22/7 to represent pi because it's very, very close to the actual value of pi, although it isn't perfect since pi has an infinite number of decimals. Let's look at the next circle. The next circle has a radius of 6. So for this one, we would use the circumference is equal to 2 times pi times the radius. So 2 times 6 is 12 times pi gives us 12 pi. So the circumference of this circle is equal to 12 pi. And you could just leave it like that if your problem asked for the answer in terms of pi. If you actually multiplied 2 times 6 and then pushed the pi key in your calculator, you would get this value right here. What if you decided to use 3.14 instead of the pi button? Well, then you would have typed this into your calculator, 2 times 6 times 3.14, and you would have gotten this answer. Last of all, we have if you used 22/7. Of course, we skipped that row. So let's talk about it. How is it different when we use the pi button instead of 3.14? I've answered this question in writing here. The way I said it is that using the pi key is a little bit more precise than using 3.14, since 3.14 is an approximation. If we use the pi button, it also gives us slightly larger results than if we just use 3.14. Now it's time to do some problem solving. Number 4 and number 5 ask you to solve some problems using the circumference of a circle. And for these problems, you may use either formula that you prefer. So you can use C is the circumference is equal to 2 times pi times the radius, or you can use circumference is equal to pi times the diameter. You get to choose. Solve these problems and hit play when you're ready for the last activity of the day. This Talk the Talk activity is today's demonstration of learning. It's a multi-part task. In problem 1, you're going to draw 2 circles. One circle will have a radius length of 3 centimeters. The other one will have a diameter length of 3 centimeters. You don't need to use a ruler. You just need to label and draw a circle that has a radius of that length or a diameter of that length labeled on it. You may use a ruler if you want to be very precise. But if you don't use a ruler, as long as you label it correctly and we understand that your drawing is not drawn to scale, then that's an option too. For the second part, you're going to describe the similarities and differences between your 2 circles. Which one's larger? How much larger is it? How are the radius and the diameter related to each other? On part 3, you're going to describe the relationship between the circumferences of the two circles. And finally, we want you to describe the circumference to diameter ratio of all circles everywhere in the entire world. For this activity, you may talk about these answers and questions with your partner, and then I want you to write your answer on your own paper and turn that paper in.